Chapter 11 Calling Uncle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It is thousands of miles away from Tiandao Mountain, above a piece of white cloud, a middle-aged man with a sloppy beard, carrying a gourd, was drinking heavily. Suddenly, the middle-aged man was taken aback, and turned his head to look somewhere in the distance. Hey! Who pulled out my sword? Is this not giving me face? Look at me. He turned over and tried to fly forward. However, he seemed to be so drunk that he fell directly from the white cloud and hit the ground heavily. Boom. This smash, like a meteorite falling to the ground, directly smashed a huge deep pit out of the ground. It seems that I've really drunk too much. The fairy wine in Yao Qi is not built. Forget it, admit defeat. The guy who drew my sword, you are a fool, fell asleep. After speaking, he fell directly into the pit and fell asleep soundly. Beside the deep pit where the drunk fell asleep, stood a dozen or so men dressed in black with snake patterns embroidered on them. My lord, this guy trespassed on my place of teaching, do you want to drive him away? One of the men in black stepped forward and said. Hearing the sound, the lord glared at him fiercely, and said, Are you blind? Take a closer look at the sword in his hand. The man in black froze for a moment, glanced at the sword in his hand at the end, and trembled all over. Splitting sword? He is. The lord glanced at him, and said coldly, Shut up if you know, and don't make trouble for yourself. That the man in black immediately lowered his head. Notify all the congregation that before he sobers up, don't come near here again. Otherwise, if he becomes drunk, no one will be able to control him except our leader. Said the Lord. Yes. The man in black took the order. On the other side, the Tiandao Mountains. Well, the sword is an ordinary iron sword, but the remaining sword intent on the sword is too strong, which makes the ordinary iron sword have such terrifying power. Luo Tian analyzed while looking at the rusty sword in his hand. Is the sword intent staining half the sky? I don't know how my sword intent is now. As Luo Tian said, he drew out his saber, took a deep breath, and slashed at Tian with his sword, Kang. The sword energy gushes out and soars into the sky, call. The howling wind split the clouds in the sky into two halves. Seeing this sword, the five-colored cow was completely convinced. If Luo Tian had used this sword to bleed himself just now, he would probably be cold by now. It seems that he is really showing mercy. Oh, it really is too weak. Luo Tian shook his head helplessly. Depend on, that the five-colored cow felt a bit of slander in its heart. Is that weak? There is a lot of sword intent left on this rusty sword, and it can be used 3 times. Keep it for now, it may be useful in the future. Luo Tian said, putting the rusty sword into the space ring, just when he was about to talk to the 5 colors divine bull, Puff. At his feet, in the original lonely grave, a hand suddenly stretched out. Huh? What? Luo Tian was startled, jumped away quickly, and prepared to attack. Wait a minute, don't shoot. At this moment, the 5-colored bull came over in a hurry, then he knelt down in front of the grave with a plop. Mother. After speaking, wept bitterly, but crying for your mother's funeral. Your mother is not dead yet. A woman's voice came from the grave, and then the hand parted, and a person crawled out from inside. This is. Luo Tian looked at the woman in front of him and was taken aback. The woman in front of her looked about 17 or 18 years old at most. However, on the top of the woman's head, there are a pair of horns, and a huge copper ring hangs on her nose. Then contact the 5-color god cow and call her mother, which is obviously a demonized form of a cow. Mother, it's been 500 years, and I finally see you again. The 5-colored cow rushed over and shouted, however, boom. The woman slapped her, and the 5-color bull was blown away. How dare you say that? It took 500 years to save my old lady. Another 100 years later, I will have to kill my old lady. The woman roared angrily. Sorry. The 5-colored cow said in a low voice, looking like a child. 500 years. Mother and child, Luo Tian looked at the woman and the five-color bull with a puzzled expression on his face. The five-color divine bull glanced at Luo Tian, and snorted, "All right, although you took a bottle of divine animal blood from me, you also rescued my mother, so let's settle the matter." Unexpectedly, the voice did not fall. Boom. The woman slapped the five-colored bull, flying away with her slap. "Mother, why did you hit me again?" said the five-colored cow with an aggrieved expression. The woman snorted, "Hit you? Hitting you is light. They saved your old lady, but you just used a bottle of beast blood to settle the case. What's the matter? Your bottle of blood is more expensive than your mother." The five-colored god Nyo suddenly felt aggrieved and dared not speak. On the other side, the woman quickly came to Luo Tian's side, holding Luo Tian's hand with both hands, shaking it non-stop. With snot and tears, he said, "Benefactor, I have been sealed in the grave for 500 years, and I thought I would be sealed until I die. I didn't expect you to take action, rescued me, and let me see the light of day again. This kind of favor and love will never be repaid. From now on, you will be my big brother, and the big brother will be worshipped by my younger sister." After finishing speaking, Nada bowed. "Mother, why did you kneel down to this human being?" The five-colored bull's face was black, however. Boom. The woman slapped the head of the five-colored god bull with a slap. "Can you speak? What is a human being?" "Uncle," the woman shouted. "I." Just as the five-color bull was about to say something, he saw a cold light flickering in the woman's eyes. The five-color cow was taken aback, and immediately said reluctantly, "Big, uncle." "I." Luo Tian was speechless. What is the situation? He drew a sword casually, and unexpectedly gained a younger sister and a nephew? Nephew or cow? Moreover, this woman has been sealed for more than 500 years, and her actual age is estimated to be even older. Such a person calls himself Big Brother? Well, what's the situation with you guys? Luo Tian asked. The woman sighed and said, "Brother, I have a human name called Nyo Tiechue, and my son also has a human name called Nyo Wufang." The corner of Luo Tian's mouth twitched a few times. He gave a thumbs up and said, "Good name." These two are really named ghosts. Sister Tai Hammer continued, "Our five-colored cow clan originally lived in the southern region. When I was young, I fled to the northern region due to accidents and settled in the Tiandang Mountains. When I become an adult, I will become the demon king of the Tiandang Mountain Range. That is also the heyday of the demon clan in the Tiandang Mountain Range. Even the royal family of the Yefeng Kingdom must give me some face. It's just that the good times didn't last long. 500 years ago, a drunk human sword fairy passed by Tiandang Mountain. He took a fancy to my bloodline and wanted to take me as a mount. I refused, and he sealed me with a sword in the grave. It is said that unless someone can pull out this sword, they will seal me for 1,000 years. But brother, I have less than 700 years left in my lifespan. If you hadn't rescued me, brother, I would have been banned until death. You are my savior." Chapter 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Luo Tian nodded slightly, probably knowing the cause and effect. On the other side, Nyo Tiechue wiped his tears and said, "By the way, brother, I don't know your name yet. Where is Xianxiang?" Luo Tian was speechless for a while, and said, "Bianbei City, Luo Tian." Nyo Tiechue slapped his thigh and said, "Oh, as expected of my brother, his name is Domineering." "What's our father's name?" Luo Tian put his hand on his forehead and said, "Let me make it clear first, that is my father, and my father's name is Luo Feng." Nyo Tiechue nodded, and said, "Oh, remember. Then brother, why did you come to Tiandang Mountain?" Luo Tian was helpless, so he roughly explained the materials he needed. After hearing this, Nyo Tiechue frowned. "Jian Xuanzong. What kind of rubbish, dare to provoke my brother? I have never heard of it." "Wufang, do you know this Jian Xuanzong?" Nyo Wufang bowed his head and said, "I heard that it was a sect that rose 400 years ago. It was very arrogant. 100 years ago, there was a guy who had just mastered the mystery and came to Tiandang Mountain. He wanted to arrest me and go back to be a pet. I kicked half to death and ran away. Niu Tiechue snorted, there is such a thing. Brother, do you want me to let your eldest nephew go to Xuanjianzong to level them? Luo Tian was startled, shook his head and said, no need, I will handle this matter myself. He paused, and suddenly his heart moved, and he said, if you really want to, you can help me go to the Luo's house in Bianbei City and guard it for a few days. I have to go out for a few days, and I am always worried that there will be people who are short-sighted and harass me family. Niu Tiechue's eyes lit up, and he said, brother, don't worry, all the affairs of our Luo family are on my shoulders. Whoever dares to provoke our Luo family, I guarantee that he will die without a place to bury him, our Luo family. Luo Tian couldn't complain anymore, this sister hammer is too familiar. By the way, dear brother, if you want to break through and need the blood of a divine beast, the blood of this child from Wufang is too thin, so use mine. As she said that, she cut her wrist directly, and a lot of blood with colorful light flowed out, although Niu Wufang's divine blood seems to be very powerful, but compared with Niu Taihammer's, it was completely one level behind. Soon, a bottle of divine blood was filled, and Niu Taihammer brought it to Luo Tian. Brother, take it and use it. If it's not enough, call me anytime, as much as you want. Niu Taihammer said sincerely, this time, Luo Tian's heart skipped a beat. Okay, then I won't refuse, I will accept the blood. Saying that, put the blood into the space ring. Are you hungry, brother? I'm going to prepare meals right now. You can order any monsters in the Tiandang Mountains today, and I'll beat them to death and prepare them for you right away. How about you try your nephew? Niu Tiechue said. Mother. Niu Wufang panicked, he could feel that if Luo Tian really spoke, Niu Taihammer might actually cut a piece of his flesh off. Luo Tian also had dark lines on his face, this bull hammer is a little too enthusiastic. No need, I'm in a hurry and I'm going to Dimingzong. Luo Tian said. Niu Tiechue nodded and said, Dimingzong. It's easy to handle. I'll call a flame bird, and I'll take you there. Flame bird is the fastest, and it should be able to reach Dimingzong in half a day. Luo Tian's eyes lit up, and he said, thank you very much. Soon, under Niu Wufang's order, a huge flame sparrow, carrying Luo Tian on its back, soared into the sky. Brother, have a good trip. Niu Taihammer waved and shouted. After Luo Tian's figure was gone, Niu Wufang said angrily, Mother, even if that kid saved you, there's no need to do this, right? Niu Wufang was a little angry. The smile on Niu Tiechue's face gradually subsided, turning into a forlorn expression. Niu Wufang, do you think your old lady is born to be a bitch and likes to call people brother? Didn't I do this to find a backer for you and me? Niu Tiechue said coldly. Ah. Backer. Just that kid. Niu Wufang was stunned. Niu Tiechue glanced at his son, and said with a cold snort, what do you think is his strength? Niu Wufang pondered for a moment, and said, I think it is stronger than me, but not as good as your mother in your heyday. But unlike ordinary humans, this guy's physical strength is quite powerful. Niu Taihammer nodded and said, he has only physical strength now, you have to reach at least the 9th level of the Tongxian realm to catch up with him. Niu Wufang curled his lips and said, that's okay, when I reach the 9th level of the Tongxian realm, I may not lose to him. Boom. Niu Tiechue punched his son down. Mother, why did you hit me again? Niu Wufang said aggrievedly. Niu Taihammer looked at him coldly, and said, because you're stupid. He's only at the 9th level of the body refinement realm, and his physical strength is comparable to your 9th level of the Tongxian realm. Do you still think that you may not lose to him? You are now at the 5th level of the Tongxian realm, right? Do you think you have broken through the realm faster, or he has broken through the body refining realm faster? After hearing Niu Tiechue's words, Niu Wufang was shocked. What? He really only has the 9th level of body refining realm? Didn't he hide the realm on purpose? Before, when Luo Tian crushed his bones with one palm, he always thought that Luo Tian was hiding his realm and deliberately bullying him, but listening to my mother, it seems that this is not the case, Niu Taihammer said coldly. can't you see what state he is in? His physical strength is terrifying now, but the aura in his body is distributed all over his body, and it doesn't gather into a sea of energy at all. Niu Wufang was shocked and said, haven't gathered qi yet. But I feel that the concentration of spiritual energy in his body is already higher than mine. How is this possible? Niu Tianjue sighed, it's not just above you. If you only talk about the quality of spiritual energy, even I am slightly inferior to him. Niu Wufang stared, and couldn't believe his ears. You know, Niu Taihammer had already reached the ruined state 500 years ago. Is this guy a monster? That's how it is at the body refining realm, so if he reaches the Tong Xian realm, is it okay? Is there really such a terrifying person in this world? As a divine beast, Niu Wufang is very proud, because whether it is an ordinary monster or a human race, they are all weaker than them in terms of talent, but in front of Luo Tian, the title of divine beast doesn't even count as a fart. Humph, if my predictions are correct, he should be the rebirth of the legendary Emperor Wu. Niu Tianjue said with his head held high. Emperor Wu is reborn. What do you mean? Niu Wufang asked in surprise. Niu Tianjue glanced at him and said with a smile, you are still young, so it's normal if you don't know. Those are all rumors from the ancient times. According to the legend, there are several martial emperors who were already invincible in the previous life. But they were either betrayed by their brothers, or be attacked by his fiancée and die accidentally. These people, although their bodies are dead, their spirits are immortal, and eventually they are captured by some human waste wood. These waste firewood will either have their marriage divorced, or be bullied by their clansmen or fellow sections. They are extremely aggrieved in the early stage. However, the more frustrated they are in the early stage, the stronger they will rise in the later stage. They will suddenly become stronger, and their final achievements will surpass their previous lives. Not only can they take revenge, but they can also create powerful holy lands and dynasties. Niu Wufang heard this, and murmured to himself, human race, useless firewood, divorced, suddenly became stronger. My God, Emperor Wu is really reborn. Chapter 13. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Niu Tianjue glanced at his son, and said triumphantly, so you know why I took the initiative to hug my thigh, right? Niu Wufang nodded heavily and said, understood. This is hugging the thigh of the future Emperor Wu. Niu Tianjue sighed and said, our five-color divine bull clan, what a tragedy. All these years, we have been hunted down, enslaved, and used as mounts. I have fled to this kind of place, yet I will be sealed for 500 years. I never want to have such a miserable life. And he is our only chance to change our fate against the sky. Niu Wufang took a deep breath and said, I understand mother, I'm going to Luo's house right now. Damn. Even if I try my best, I won't let anyone in Luo's family get hurt. Niu Tianjue nodded and said, that's right, this is the first thing he entrusted to us, and it must not be messed up. The other side, a sneeze. Luo Tian, who was sitting on the flame sparrow, sneezed involuntarily. This sneeze made Yanke tremble with fright. My lord, am I flying too fast? He asked tremblingly. At this moment, Yanke is extremely afraid of Luo Tian, not only because of Niu Tianjue's mother and son's attitude towards Luo Tian. What's more, when Luo Tian sat on him, Yanke felt an extremely terrifying sense of oppression. That feeling, I am not carrying a human being, it's more like carrying an extremely powerful God and Buddha on his back. Every time Luo Tian took a breath, it seemed that some kind of laws of heaven and earth were being affected. It gave Yanke a feeling that he would be shot to death at any time. After all, he is also a monster of Yukong realm. It can only be said that Luo Tian is too powerful. Luo Tian didn't know that he was just bored in the air, and practiced the heavenly Dao breathing method silently in the air a few times, which almost scared Yanke to death. No, how long will it be? Luo Tian said. 10 miles ahead, we will arrive at the mountain gate of Daimingzong. My lord, Daimingzong is a bit complicated. I am a monster, so it is not convenient to go. Yanke said cautiously. Oh. That's good, just put me down. Luo Tian said lightly. Good. Good. Yanke was overjoyed. In fact, he is not afraid of Emperor Mingzong. The reason why he said that was because he really didn't want to carry Luo Tian behind his back. This guy is so scary. Whoosh. Soon, the flame sparrow landed. My lord, further ahead is the gate of Daimingzong. If there is no order, I will take my leave first. Yanke said. Well, let's go. Luo Tian waved his hand. Farewell. Yanke got the order and flew back as if desperate. Fuck. Next time, I won't take this job again, I'm scared to death. Yanke said to himself. On the other side, Luo Tian followed Yang's guidance and soon came to the gate of Daimingzong. It's just that there is something abnormal about the Daimingzong mountain gate at this moment. I saw clouds and mist shrouded in front of the mountain gate, as if there was a force preventing people from going up the mountain. Seeing this, Luo Tian frowned, and immediately shouted loudly, Beibei City Luo Tian, here Mingzong worships the mountain, look out and see. With a shout, the cloud and mist did not disperse, but someone inside the mountain gate said coldly, Mingzong closed the mountain, and no visitors will be seen. If there is something to do, come and see us in half a month. Get back quickly, or you will bear the consequences. Okay. Luo Tian frowned, you speak so politely, but the other party is so disrespectful. Let yourself half a month later. How can I have so much free time? Forget it, it doesn't matter if I don't see you. I'm here in Mingzong, and I want to get 1,000-year-old stalactite. If you give it to me, I'll turn around and leave. Luo Tian shouted. However, everyone in Yunwu was angry. Boy, are you so deaf? You are limited within 3 breaths, retreat quickly, or you will be killed without mercy. The man shouted. Kill without pardon. Luo Tian's eyes flashed coldly when he heard this. Hee, it seems that I look too kind, and they regard me as an honest person, Luo Tian said, taking a step forward. Court death. Everyone in Yunwu was furious. Kang. A beam of sword energy split out from the clouds and slashed towards Luo Tian. Sword chi. You actually used this thing against me, Luo Tian sneered, and glanced at the sword energy. Sword intent flickered in his eyes. Laugh. In an instant, the sword energy dissipated. What? The people in the cloud and mist were shocked and couldn't help but gasped. It turns out that the visitor was not kind. If that's the case, then don't blame me. Activate the sword formation. The man shouted, Kang. In the next moment, the cloud and mist dispersed, and 6 figures appeared. At the same time, the 6 of them formed seals together, and instantly condensed a huge chi sword above their heads. Your Excellency, this is one of the 3 great sword formations from the Xuanzong of Jian, the Haoyue sword formation. Even those who are strong in the sky control realm can be beheaded. I will give you one last chance, retreat quickly. The leader, Leng said loudly. Sword Xuanzong. Luo Tian frowned, isn't that exactly Lan Xiu'er sect? Unexpectedly, Mingzong had something to do with them. Hee, is it one of the 3 great sword arrays of Xuanzong? Okay, I want to see how powerful it is. With that said, Luo Tian continued to move forward. Looking for death, take action. Several people seal at the same time, Kang. In the next moment, a huge sword energy slashed at Luo Tian's head. Ha! Don't hide. Several people looked at Luo Tian at the bottom of the mountain, walking towards the mountain at a leisurely pace. They couldn't help but be taken aback for a while. This guy, is he crazy? Humph, who knows, since he wants to die with all his heart, let him be fulfilled. That while speaking, the sword energy had already come in front of Luo Tian, and on Luo Tian's body, a golden light automatically emerged, covering his whole body, when. With a crisp sound, the sword energy fell on the golden light, and it was difficult to advance an inch, and Luo Tian didn't seem to see the sword energy, and walked up the mountain step by step without slowing down. Bang, 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 with every step he took, the sword energy shattered, walking out with more than 10 steps back and forth. The huge sword energy has been completely shattered and dissipated in the world without a sound. Poof. Poof, the 6 people on the mountain, affected by the sword energy, spurted blood at the same time and fell to the ground. How is it possible? The leader's face turned pale. Call. In the next instant, Luo Tian had already come in front of him. You said that you want to kill me without mercy, right? Luo Tian grabbed his neck. The man's eyes were full of fear at this moment. Originally, he just wanted to show his prestige, but unexpectedly, he kicked the iron board. This fellow Taoist, please be merciful. At this moment, the sound of piercing the sky suddenly came, and 3 figures in front and behind landed in front of the mountain gate. Elder Huang, Elder Yi, Elder Wu. Seeing this, several young people outside the mountain gate shouted in unison. Elder Huang, who was the leader, settled down, glanced at Luo Tian, cupped his hands and said, "This fellow Taoist came from a long way, and it is our fault that the Daimingzong failed to treat guests. I wonder if we can let this one go for the time being." Disciple. Luo Tian frowned, and let go of the man's neck, but before he landed, he slapped him with a slap. Snapped. With a crisp sound, the man was blown away, landed heavily on the ground, and passed out. You. The 2 people behind Elder Huang became furious at the same time. Chapter 14 Powerful Evil Spirit. That's it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Your Excellency's doing this is too much, isn't it? Elder Yi said coldly. Call. Elder Wu beside him was even more aura-rising, as if he was about to make a move at any time. Too much. Your disciples don't know how to speak human words. I'll just teach you a lesson. If I really went too far, he would already be dead. Luo Tian said lightly. Humph, a lesson. Are you worthy? You are so young and have such a vicious heart, so I will teach you a lesson for your lord. As Elder Yi said, he took a step forward, made a formula in his hand, and shouted, "Bright moon sword formation." Ga, 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 ga. A crow flies overhead. Other than that, nothing happened. Huh? What's going on? Several people in the room were stunned. That, Elder Yi, how U.S. sword formation, was destroyed by him. A disciple said in a low voice. What? How is it possible? We just came over when we heard the voice. When did he destroy it? Elder Yi was shocked. Just now, the sword energy from the Hao-Yu's sword formation struck him, and it was cut off directly. Said the disciple. This. Elder Yi was dumbfounded. The Hao-Yu's sword formation, that is their Mingzong, they spent a lot of money to invite people from Jiangshuanzong to arrange the formation, in order to resist foreign enemies. This sword array is so powerful that it can kill the strong in the sky defense realm. Even an ordinary expert at the Tongxian realm would bleed when they entered, but who would have thought that today would be ruined? Then this guy in front of him, could it be that his cultivation is above the Tongxian realm? Elder Yi looked at Luo Tian, and couldn't help but a drop of sweat fell from his forehead. Huh? What are you going to do? Luo Tian looked at him and asked. It's okay, my arm is sore, let's stretch my muscles and bones. Elder Yi changed his expression quickly. Are you kidding me? Elder Yi has only cultivated at the 8th level of the spiritual realm, and he can only fly by relying on magic weapons. Let him challenge a strong person in the Tongxian realm. Is it too long? Hey, let's all back down. Elder Huang sighed and asked them to back down. Then, he came in front of Luo Tian, cupped his hands and said, "This fellow Taoist, just now my Mingzong didn't treat guests well," and he still looked at Haihan. Luo Tian said indifferently, "Let's not talk about the scene. I didn't come to the noble sect to find fault. I just wanted to ask for 1,000-year-old stalactite. I will leave immediately after I get it." This. Elder Huang was troubled when he heard the sound. Huh? Didn't Mingzong have one? Luo Tian frowned. Elder Huang smiled wryly and said, 1,000-year-old stalactites are precious, but there are still some in my Mingzong, but, just can't be given to fellow Taoists now. Why? Luo Tian asked in surprise. Elder Huang sighed and said, "The Zongmen encountered adversity, and I didn't want to tell outsiders, but since fellow Taoists have come, it is inconvenient to hide it. Fellow Taoists should know that my Mingzong is best at the technique of geomancy, searching for dragon veins, and mining spirit mines. However, the technique of geomancy is harmful to the harmony of nature, and it is very easy to attract evil things. A few months ago, some elders in my sect accidentally attracted an evil spirit when they were doing a survey, and occupied the largest mine in my sect. No matter whether it is 1,000-year-old stalactite or other spiritual mines, they cannot be mined. Gone. The evil spirit is so powerful that it caused the loss of several elders in my sect. In order to get rid of this evil spirit, we spent a lot of money and invited a soul master. The soul master specially arranged a formation to eliminate evil spirits, and prepared for 49 days. Today is the last day, and there is no room for any disturbance. That's why we closed the mountain gate, and we don't see any visitors. It's just that the disciples under the sect are ignorant and offended fellow Taoists. Please forgive me, fellow Taoists. Elder Huang was very polite when he spoke and acted. Of course, he is not polite to everyone. If it was someone else, he wouldn't bother to say so much, but before, he had seen Luo Tian's methods, such a terrifying powerhouse. Does he dare to be rude? Luo Tian nodded and said, that is to say, it is possible to get rid of the evil spirit today. Elder Huang hesitated for a moment, and said, it is indeed possible, but it is hard to say. After all, the evil spirit is very strong. As he said that, he glanced at Luo Tian and said, if fellow Taoists don't dislike it, you can follow me to the mine. If you can get rid of evil spirits today, Di Mingzong is willing to offer you a millennium stalactite. Elder Huang is very clear in his heart. Dai Ming sect is not a sect known for its force, but it is a very wealthy sect. If you want to survive in this world, you must find a strong backer, and the strength that Luo Tian just showed, already has the qualifications to be their backer. Therefore, although the millennium stalactites are precious, he is willing to offer them. Okay, take me to have a look. Luo Tian said. Fellow Taoist please. As Elder Huang said, he flew up with the magic weapon, call. Almost at the same time, Luo Tian disappeared from the spot and landed on Elder Ye's flying magic weapon. Ah, what are you going to do? Elder Ye was terrified and looked at Luo Tian in shock. I can't fly, take me with you for a while. Luo Tian said. You can't fly. In Elder Ye's heart, he didn't believe Luo Tian's words at all. A strong person at the Tongxian realm can't fly. What about a liar? This guy must be deliberately finding fault with himself. Although Elder Ye was extremely reluctant in his heart, he also knew that Luo Tian was not someone he could offend, so he just had to bite the bullet and take him to the Zongmen together. Soon, several people came to the back mountain, inside a mine. Fellow Taoist, here is a third-grade soul master who presides over the exorcism of evil spirits. Fellow Taoist, please be careful with your words and deeds. After all, you should also know that the tempers of soul masters are all weird. Elder Huang warned. Don't worry, I know it well. Luo Tian said lightly. While speaking, several people fell down. However, as soon as he landed, he saw a skinny old man on the platform in front of him, with a flash of anger in his eyes. How many times have I told you, don't make any noise during the preparation, and you are still flying around? Do you not want to get rid of this evil spirit? The old man scolded angrily. Seeing this, Elder Huang blushed immediately, bowed and said, Old Su, I'm sorry, I was wrong. This old Su snorted, and said, Go away, if there is a next time, I will turn around and leave. Yes, yes. Elder Huang stepped aside with a resentful expression on his face. At this moment, that Elder Su took a deep breath and walked to the end of the fat eye. 5 Soul Formation, get up. Following Elder Su's loud shout, the braziers around the fat eye suddenly turned green. Call. At the same time, a powerful force field spread along the trend. Evil barrier, why don't you show up yet? Boss Su shouted. Ow! In the next moment, there was a mournful howl from the distant mountain. Immediately afterwards, black air billowed in the mountains and forests, and a black humanoid spirit floated out slowly. Be careful, everyone, don't let that black air touch it. it's soul poison, extremely dangerous. Someone reminded loudly. Everyone in the Daiming sect looked as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Only Luo Tian was stunned. Evil spirits. That's it. He thought to himself. Chapter 15. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fellow Taoist, don't underestimate that evil spirit. This guy doesn't look strong, but he's extremely dangerous. Elder Huang seemed to have seen Luo Tian's thoughts, and reminded him aloud. Give me peace, don't interfere with my master casting spells. A young man yelled at Elder Huang. In terms of age, he looks like he is in his 20s, but Elder Huang just didn't dare to speak back. There's no way, who would let someone be a Soul Master's disciple? On the altar, Soul Master Su Lao lit a ball of yellow money paper, call. In an instant, the surrounding green flames flew up, from all around. There were bursts of howling ghosts and wolves, hundreds of ghost shadows began to gather above his head. Spirit nail, now, Old Su shouted, Kang. In the next moment, a 1-foot-long soul-suppressing nail appeared on top of his head. That's soul power transformation. It's so powerful. Are you kidding me? The transformation of soul power, is there really such a powerful master? That everyone in the Daiming sect showed shock on their faces. Only Luo Tian was speechless for a while. As for this? He asked. After hearing this, Elder Huang said in a low voice, Fellow Taoist is not a soul cultivator, so it's normal if you don't understand. Soul power cultivation is extremely difficult, and only those with great abilities can transform soul power into form. Luo Tian smiled slightly and didn't say much. Anyway, I came here to seek 1,000-year-old stalactites, so why bother talking? Kill. On the other side, Mr. Su waved his hand, and the soul requiem nail in the air rushed towards the evil spirits, bumping into each other heavily. Ow! The evil spirit let out a mournful howl, and rushed towards the soul nail. When a loud noise pierced through the soul, some young disciples with insufficient cultivation in the field were directly shocked to the point of foaming at the mouth and passed out. This soul power fluctuation. Elder Huang frowned, and turned to look at Luo Tian, but the latter was expressionless and didn't respond at all. Good concentration. Elder Huang couldn't help admiring. On the other side, Mr. Su controlled the soul-suppressing nail, constantly bombarding the evil spirits, pushing them back again and again. Okay. Master, work harder and kill this evil spirit. Elder Su's disciple applauded from the side. Even the people of Dimingzong let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that this evil spirit could finally be dealt with. Only Luo Tian gradually frowned. Elder Huang, go and ask Elder Su to stop, otherwise his life will be in danger. Luo Tian said. Huh. Elder Huang was taken aback. Now that Elder Su has the upper hand, how can Luo Tian say that his life is in danger? What are you dare to talk about my master? Are you tired of work? Luo Tian's words were heard by Mr. Su's disciples, who immediately turned around and reprimanded him angrily. Fellow Taoist, don't speak lightly. Elder Su is a soul master. You have seen the power of this soul-suppressing nail. He can't afford to offend him. You should apologize quickly. Elder Huang also realized that something was wrong. Persuaded in a low voice from the side, however, Luo Tian sighed, and said, the soul-suppressing nail can indeed restrain evil spirits, but unfortunately, this old Su's soul-suppressing nail is not a real soul-suppressing nail. It's not a real soul nail. What do you mean? Elder Huang was stunned. Luo Tian pointed to the lights around the altar and the shadow of the soul coiled around Elder Su. He didn't have enough soul power to condense the soul-suppressing nail, so he set up a formation, and used a secret method to burn the wandering soul, and forcibly condense the soul-suppressing nail. But the soul-suppressing nail has an unstable foundation and cannot last for a long time. If he can crucify the evil spirit within 3 moves, then he will surely win. But if it is delayed to more than 5 moves, then the winning rate is only %. But now, he has dragged on to 10 moves, and his follow-up soul power is not good enough. He is already a loser. Elder Huang was a little surprised when he heard Luo Tian's words sound logically. but Elder Su's disciple was also flustered when he heard this, but he said stiffly, "What a joke. What kind of soul art do you know? How dare you speak up here?" But before he finished speaking, Luo Tian turned his head and looked at him. "This is the second time you've spoken rudely to me. Believe it or not, if you say another word, I'll screw your head off right away." Luo Tianhan said. Old disciple Su wanted to say something, but the moment he met Luo Tian's eyes, he felt a bone-chilling chill. He had no doubt that if he spoke again, Luo Tian would really kill him. Humph, that he gritted his teeth, turned his head away, and said nothing more, at this time. "Look," someone shouted, in the middle of the sky. The situation of the battle suddenly changed. Originally, the soul nail, which was still pressing down on the evil spirits, was losing streak now, and even almost collapsed several times. "Huh? What's going on? It was obviously not like this just now," someone said in surprise. "It's the soul nail has become weaker. Someone saw the clues. Look at Mr. Su." At this moment, someone pointed at the altar. At this moment, on the Dharma platform, the surrounding green flames began to gradually fade, revealing their original colors. Elder Su's whole body was also on the verge of falling, and he couldn't even stand steadily. At last, puff. Elder Su spat out a mouthful of blood, and the surrounding green flames suddenly disappeared. Call. The soul requiem nail in the air also dissipated invisibly in an instant. "Mr. Su, we are defeated." For a while, the Daiming sect was extremely quiet, only the evil spirits in the air howled like a provocation. "Even Mr. Su can't do it. We, Yefeng Nation, don't have stronger soul masters, right? It seems that our Mingzong can only give up the old place of the sect." Everyone in the Daiming sect was ashamed. Elder Huang also looked helpless, and turned to Luo Tian and said, "Friend Taoist, you have also seen that the evil spirits have not been eliminated, and the 1,000-year stalactites cannot be given to you." Luo Tian glanced at Elder Huang and said, "In other words, if you kill this evil spirit, you will be able to give me 1,000-year stalactites, right?" Elder Huang was stunned for a moment, nodded and said, "That's true, but you've seen it too, not even Elder Su." Luo Tian smiled and said, "Okay, that's a deal, I'll help you kill the evil spirits, and you guys prepare the Millennium stalactites." "What?" Everyone in Diming Zone was dumbfounded. "What the hell? Shoot the evil spirits to death." Even the old Su at the moment has a strange expression on his face. "Boy, which family's junior are you from? Do you look down on soul art too much? You can deal with things that even the old man can't do anything about." Su Lao wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said coldly. Luo Tian said indifferently, "That's because you are not good at learning." Hearing this, Elder Su became even more angry. "Who is he? He is the strongest soul master in Night Breeze country. When did you experience such humiliation?" "I'm not good at learning." "Haha, good. This is the first time someone said that to me." "Di Mingzong, this is your way of hospitality, isn't it? Well, the old man wants to see how you deal with this evil spirit," he said, looking at Luo Tian with a playful face. Luo Tian smiled lightly and said, "Soul-suppressing nail, right? Well, it seems to be like this." He said, forming a seal with one hand. Bang, clang, clang, clang. In an instant, four soul-suppressing nails emerged above his head. Chapter 16. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? That's the soul nail. Is it fake? Why are there four at once? Is it some kind of martial art? For a moment, everyone in the venue looked shocked. Only some people above the elder level realized that something was wrong, especially Mr. Su, who is above the stage of law. He stared blankly at the soul-suppressing nail on Luo Tian's head, feeling that his soul was about to be shattered. I prepared for more than a month, relying on formations and burning wandering souls, and only briefly condensed one soul nail. This guy, unexpectedly condensed four in one go. Elder Su was extremely shocked. With his strength, he could instantly tell that Luo Tian's soul-suppressing nail was genuine. Moreover, it is much stronger than his forcibly condensed soul-suppressing nail. Ow! At this time, the evil spirits in the air also noticed the existence of the soul nail. Evil spirits are pure spiritual bodies, and ordinary attacks do not pose a threat to him at all. However, the soul-suppressing nail, which is a form of soul power, is completely different. For a moment, he felt like an enemy. Evil spirit. I'll give you a chance to get out of Daimingzong. If you don't come back, I'll spare your life. Luo Tian looked at the evil spirit above his head and said, "Call." The evil spirit in the air, with red eyes shining, rushed towards it fiercely with teeth and claws. Things you don't want for your face. Luo Tian frowned, and waved his hand. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The 4 soul-suppressing nails chased after the evil spirit. Boom. The 2 sides collided in mid-air, and the evil spirit's body was instantly pierced with 4 large holes. What? That when Mr. Su saw this scene, his heart trembled even more. His soul-suppressing nail can only temporarily suppress the evil spirits, but Luo Tian's soul-suppressing nail pierced through the evil spirit's body in an instant. Among them, the difference is huge, and Mr. Su feels the deepest. At this moment, he looked at Luo Tian with no contempt. Instead, all that's left is reverence. Powerful. Too strong. Ow! Thought it was the first time that the evil spirit in the air had suffered such a serious injury, and let out a miserable howl. Whoosh. But at this moment, the soul-suppressing nail went away and came back, stabbing at the evil spirit again. This time, the evil spirit did not dare to resist it head-on, screamed, turned around and fled. Fellow Taoist, don't let this beast escape into the earth's veins, otherwise, it will be troublesome to force him out again. Elder Huang reminded. In fact, Luo Tian had already noticed it. Then with a wave of his right hand, 2 soul-suppressing nails sealed the escape direction of the evil spirit, and the remaining 2 soul-suppressing nails chased desperately. Ow! With a scream, the evil spirit fled in another direction, followed by Xuanhuan nail. This evil animal's physical skills are too weird. The 4 soul-suppressing nails can't catch up with him, if there is another soul-suppressing nail. The master of Daiming sect frowned. He had already seen that if they confronted head-on, the evil spirits would have no choice but to be tortured to death by Luo Tian. However, if this guy wants to run away, the 4 soul-suppressing nails are really troublesome. Prepare a soul-returning pill for me, and I will help this lord. Elder Su said. What? That everyone in Daimingzong was taken aback. It has been some time since Mr. Su came to their Mingzong. Even the suzerain of the Daiming sect was 3 points shorter in front of him, but now, he actually called Luo Tian an adult. Money is in the hands of slaves, art is in the hands of pedestrians. Elder Huang sighed inwardly. Master, your soul power is damaged, so you can't force it anymore. Elder Su's disciple persuaded from the side, but Mr. Su shook his head and said, "No, the 4 soul-suppressing nails can't chase this guy to death. I must help him to repay my rude behavior just now. I deserve it." This. The crowd was stunned again. When did this eccentric Mr. Su become so virtuous? Even Luo Tian couldn't help but take another look at this old fellow. This person is quite interesting. You don't need to intervene, since the 4 soul-suppressing nails can't deal with this evil beast, then 4 more. Luo Tian smiled, his soul power activated, and 4 soul-suppressing nails condensed on the top of his head again. What? That everyone was in an uproar again. In their opinion, the previous 4 soul-repelling nails were already extremely terrifying. As a result, Luo Tian condensed 4 more roots in the blink of an eye. How strong is his soul power? Go to hell. With a wave of Luo Tian's hand, the 4 soul nails chased after the evil spirit again. Ow! The evil spirit also sensed that something was wrong, and desperately tried to escape, but the 8 soul-suppressing nails blocked all his escape paths, so he could only dodge back and forth in place. In just a few breaths, he was hit by Luo Tian's soul-suppressing nail a few more times, and the aura on his body also began to drop. What a powerful evil spirit, with 8 soul-suppressing nails, how can it persist for so long? No wonder we lost so many fellow disciples. Everyone in Daimingzong kept amazed. Elder Su's face turned pale. Unexpectedly, this evil spirit is so tenacious. I actually wanted to get rid of this thing without shame before. I'm ashamed. Elder Su already knew that his soul power was vastly different from this evil spirit. If it wasn't for the existence of Luo Tian, he might have died today. It seems that I still underestimated Luo Tian. He unexpectedly can use 8 soul-suppressing nails. Terror. So horrible. However, Luo Tian gradually lost his patience as he watched the soul nail being unable to attack for a long time. Little trash, you can hide, right? Okay, come on, I'll let you hide. Soul-suppressing nails, soul-suppressing nails, soul-suppressing nails. Luo Tian raised his eyes, parted his hands, and threw the soul nail towards the evil spirit as if he didn't want money. This. Everyone is stupid. 8, 16, 20, 30. Seeing the soul-suppressing nails densely packed, everyone was paralyzed. Is this still a soul nail? Before Mr. Su, it took so much effort to produce a soul-suppressing nail, the result is now. My lord, my lord. That's enough, the evil spirit has been wiped out. Elder Su was the first to come to his senses and reminded Luo Tian. At this moment, Luo Tian had already thrown out more than 100 soul requiem nails. The soul requiem nails in the sky are densely packed, sealing off a whole space. Those evil spirits were not nailed to death by sedation. Instead, he was crushed to death by a large number of soul nails. Ha! Is it over? Luo Tian stopped after hearing the sound. Damn, what a tough guy. Luo Tian waved his hand and withdrew all his soul power. Crowd, with this style of play, he still has the nerve to call others difficult. Thank you, sir, for eliminating this great harm for my sect. I don't know what to call you. My Mingzong will never forget it. The Lord of the Daiming sect also came back to his senses and shouted loudly, are you kidding me? Not to mention that Luo Tian helped their sect a lot. Just because of the strength Luo Tian showed just now, he couldn't miss this thigh. Chapter 17 Soul Master Guild. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sovereign, this fellow Taoist, I brought him up the mountain. Elder Huang came over at the right time and laughed. This credit cannot be attributed to others, however, snapped. The patriarch of Daiming sect slapped Elder Huang on the head. What do you call a fellow Taoist? Are you worthy? Don't you have any clues in your mind? Call me a lord. He roared angrily. Yes, my lord. Elder Huang immediately saluted Luo Tian. At this moment Luo Tian was also speechless for a while. You don't need to be so polite, Elder Huang, does our agreement count? Luo Tian asked. Forget it. Of course it does, Elder Huang hurriedly nodded. A promise? What kind of promise? The Daiming sect master looked puzzled. Elder Huang immediately explained Luo Tian's reason for coming. Why, Lord Sovereign, can you give me this 1,000-year-old stalactite? Luo Tian looked at him and asked with a smile. The lord of the Daiming sect trembled all over, bowed and said, how dare you call me a lord? The lord of the Daiming sect, with a humble name of Wei Su, will offer you a 1,000-year-old stalactite immediately, but I don't know the name of an adult. Pfft. Before Luo Tian could reply, Soul Master Su Lao knelt down in front of Luo Tian. My lord, my little old man Su Ping, the elder of the Soul Masters Guild of Yefan Country, who are you, my lord? A Soul Master from the Heavenly Sun Empire, or, are you a lord from the headquarters of the Soul Masters Guild? He asked in Luo Tian in front of you, respectfully, even though there was still blood on the corner of his lips, he did not dare to lose his courtesy. The others were shocked when they heard these words. Tianyang Empire? Is it Tianyang Empire, one of the 3 major imperial kingdoms in Fenglinzhu? That's right, probably only this kind of place can have such a powerful soul master. Everyone nodded secretly. But Luo Tian in the crowd was at a loss. What's the mess? My name is Luo Tian, and I'm from Bianbei City. Luo Tian said indifferently. He didn't bother to hide his identity either. Beibei City? That everyone looked at each other for a while. They thought about it for a long time, but they couldn't remember which big power was in Bianbei City. There was only one old man who asked cautiously, could it be, that Bianbei City in the north of our Night Breeze country? Luo Tian nodded and said, that's right, exactly. This. Everyone looked at each other. Yanbei City is a small town in Yefeng's country. For thousands of years, not to mention powerful forces, there is not even a famous strong man. However, Luo Tian in front of him actually came from there, and has such a powerful soul technique. This, Lord Luo Tian, don't you think you haven't joined the Soul Masters Guild yet? Elder Su heard the information in Luo Tian's words and asked cautiously. No, what is the Soul Master Guild? Luo Tian really didn't know. Elder Su was shocked, and said, Sir, a powerful Soul Master like you doesn't even know about the Soul Master Guild. Our Soul Master Guild was founded 8,000 years ago by Master Li Tianshao, a 9th-level Celestial Soul Master. The purpose is to unite the Soul Masters of the world. The Soul Master Guild can provide level certification for Soul Master practitioners. Once you become a certified Soul Master, you will enjoy the salary of the Soul Master Guild. The higher the level, the higher the salary. Of course, as a guild member, you have to fulfill some responsibilities, such as completing at least one guild-entrusted task every year, but after the task is completed, there will be additional rewards. Having said that, he raised his head and asked cautiously, Lord Luo Tian, since you have not joined the Soul Masters Guild, are you interested in joining? Su Ping has already seen how powerful Luo Tian's soul power is. If he was pulled into the guild, it would not only make the Soul Master Guild of their Night Breeze country a lot stronger, more importantly, as the referrer, he will get huge benefits. What's the salary for joining the guild? Only spirit stones. Luo Tian asked. Su Ping was stunned, and hurriedly said, not only spirit stones, but as long as you need, martial arts, celestial grasses, elixir and other cultivation materials are all available. I'm not bragging, our Soul Master Guild is a very powerful guild, we are looking for there are very few things that can't be reached. Oh. That's fine, I'm joining, Luo Tian responded directly. Anyway, it's just a guild, and there's no harm in joining. More importantly, you can also get training materials. Material from body refining to gas gathering is already so complicated, what about the future? You can't run around like this every time you break through, can you? There is a guild to help me collect materials, so I can relax a lot. Really? Su Ping couldn't believe his ears. So easy to win over a big boss. Ah. Are there any other questions? Luo Tian asked. No. No, just wait a moment. Su Pingsheng was afraid that Luo would repent, so he immediately took out a token from his bosom, and engraved his own mark with his soul power. My lord, please use your soul power to make a mark. He held the token in both hands and said. Luo Tian followed his words and marked it with soul power. Su Ping let out a long sigh of relief. My lord, my authority is limited, and I can only issue you the token of a first-level Soul Master. If you have time, you can go to the sub-helm of the Soul Master Guild in the capital of Night Breeze, and do another evaluation. With your strength, you will definitely be able to become a 4th level, no, a 5th level Soul Master. Su Ping was very excited when he thought of himself as the recommender of a 5th level Soul Master. Okay, I will go if I have the chance. Luo Tian nodded and put the token away. Sovereign, the 1,000-year-old stalactites have been brought. At this moment, a disciple of Daimingzong came to Wei Su. Lord Luo Tian, here is the 1,000-year-old stalactite you want. In addition, in order to thank you for your kindness, Daimingzong has another 5,000 million low-grade spirit stones, please accept it. Wei Su said with a smile. Oh. Then I won't be polite. Luo Tian didn't talk nonsense, and put away the 1,000-year-old stalactites and spirit stones. My lord, can you do me a favor and stay a few more days in Daimingzong? If we have something to do, we can ask for advice at any time. Wei Su said. In fact, he said this because he was afraid that there would be another change in the mine, but Luo Tian shook his head and said, forget it, I still have something to do, hurry up. See you when you have time. After finishing speaking, he turned his head and glanced at Elder Wu, who had been stunned for a long time. Hey, brother, you brought me up the mountain, and I'll trouble you to give me a ride down the mountain too. Luo Tian said. Ah, yes, Elder Wu nodded mechanically. If it is said that before, he was a little afraid of Luo Tian, so now, he was really scared stupid by Luo Tian. Watching Luo Tian and Elder Wu leave, Di Mingzong heaved a sigh of relief. Sect Master, 1,000-year-old stalactites are already very precious. You gave him back 5,000 million low-grade spirit stones, just a soul master, so what? An elite disciple of the Daiming sect asked beside Wei Su with a dissatisfied expression, snapped. Wei Su slapped the disciple on the back of the head, almost knocking him unconscious. Stupid thing, can't you even see how strong he is? Wei Xuanhuan asked. How? How strong? The elite disciple asked in surprise. Wei Su took a deep breath and said, as for the soul-suppressing nails he just had, if the target is to attack us, they can beat our Mingzong to death. The elite disciple was shocked and said, such an exaggeration. Wei Su continued, 100 times. Chapter 18 Angry Luo Tian. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yunshui City, Lan family, Lan Xiu'er, whose limbs were broken, was lying on the couch with a sullen expression on her face. She stared at the ceiling, cursing Luo Tian over and over again in her heart. Xiu'er, how are you feeling? Outside the door, Lan Meng walked in. Lan Xiu'er tilted her head, looked at him and said, the Luo family, is it gone? Lan Meng froze slightly and shook his head. What? Jian Xuanzong and Xuanhuan Palace can't destroy them? Lan Xiu'er was shocked. You know, whether it is Jiangshuanzong or Xuanhuan Palace, they are all extremely powerful existences. How could such two great forces not be able to destroy even one Luo family? Jiangshuanzong and Xuanhuan Palace didn't make a move. Lan Meng said. What? How is that possible? Lan Xiu'er couldn't believe it. Jiangshuanzong is fine. I am the sweetheart of Prince Xuanhuan, the future concubine of Prince Xuanhuan. How could he not avenge me? Lan Xiu'er said hysterically. Jiangshuanzong said that the sect is preparing for a major event, and they can't mobilize manpower, so you have to wait for a few more months. And the Xuanhuan Palace said that the Shenwai cannot leave the capital, nor can they directly act. Lan Meng sighed. What? How is it possible? Lan Xiu'er was shocked. She thought that, as the woman of Prince Xuanwu's heir, she was injured in Bianbei City, and whether it was Jian Xuanzong or Prince Xuanwu's mansion, they would do their best to avenge her and vent their anger on her, but what I didn't expect was that these two major forces behaved so indifferently. Xiu'er, don't worry. Although Jiangshuanzong won't do it himself, they informed a friend of your master about it. He has already agreed to go to Luo's house in Bianbei City. Lan Meng said. Lan Xiu'er was angry. My master's friend? Is that also revenge for my master? What does it matter to me? Father, I want Luo Tian to die, I want Luo's family to die, and I want everyone in Bianbei City to die. Lan Xiu'er yelled hysterically. Lan Meng gritted his teeth and said, Xiu'er, don't worry. Dad will definitely get you justice. Dad has spent a lot of money to hire a killer from the Ghost Palace to eradicate the Luo family. That killer has the 8th level repair of the Royal Sky Realm. Why, stronger than your master? Lan Xiu'er narrowed her eyes and said, Tu Yukongjing, it's not enough. Dad, the son of King Xuanwu, once gave me a piece of Xuanwu token, which can order a guest of Xuanwu Wangfu from Yukongjing. You use it. Lan Meng's eyes lit up and he said, Oh. Is that so? Those 3 strong fighters at the Sky Control Realm shot at the same time. Even if Luo Tian was against the sky, he would definitely die. Dad, let's do it now. After speaking, Lan Meng took the token and turned to leave. Looking at Lan Meng's back, Lan Xiu'er's eyes were full of killing intent. Luo Tian, fight with me. I want you to die. Your whole family will die. Lan Xiu'er said through gritted teeth. Meanwhile, somewhere thousands of miles away. Luo Tian on the avenue couldn't help but sneezed. What's going on? Am I catching a cold? Luo Tian checked his body and found nothing unusual. It's weird. He shook his head and set his gaze on the map again. after leaving Dimingzong, he headed all the way towards his next goal, Gue Yuanzong, but for him who doesn't know how to fly in the air, his speed is still too slow. Oh, what a mistake. If I had known, it would have been better if I didn't let that bird go back. Luo Tian sighed, at this rate, I'm afraid I won't be able to reach Guiyuanzong in more than 10 days, if that's the case, it will delay things. Huh. That's right, I'm really stupid, can't I just use the heaven's way to get on the road? Luo Tian said, and started teleporting directly. Although a teleportation is only 10 meters, however, he couldn't bear the fact that he had enough aura, so he could continue teleporting, just like that, he just teleported 10 meters and 10 meters, and he teleported 100 miles in a short time. Well, does Bailey consume a lot of spiritual energy? Teleportation is quite expensive. Luo Tian couldn't help complaining, but... Heavenly breathing method. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Luo Tian stood where he was, practicing the heavenly Tao breathing method, boom. All of a sudden, the spiritual energy of the surrounding world quickly gathered towards his body, after about 7 breaths. Well, the aura is full, let's continue on our way. Luo Tian smiled and teleported to a place 10 meters away, not long after he left, whizzing, several figures before and after descended from the sky. Uncle, what happened to the spiritual energy fluctuation just now? A young disciple asked. The middle-aged Taoist priest at the head had a dignified look on his face. I don't know, maybe, there is a certain expert practicing kung fu here. A tall man? How tall can he be? Could it be that he is taller than you, uncle? The young man said. The people behind him also laughed. The Taoist looked serious and said, I'm afraid he is much stronger than me. What? All the young people were shocked. This middle-aged Taoist is a great practitioner at the first level of the Tongxian realm. Taller than him? Isn't that so? The middle-aged Taoist looked around, cupped his hands and said, which senior is practicing here? Can you come out and meet? However, he asked for a while, and the surroundings were quiet, without any response. How did he know that at this moment Luo Tian had already teleported tens of miles away? The Taoist frowned slightly, and said, since you don't want to meet, fellow Taoist, forgive me for bothering you, and leave. He felt very sorry, judging from the aura fluctuation just now, there must have been a top powerhouse who appeared here. If I can get to know him, if I can get his help, maybe I can solve the catastrophe of their sect. Unfortunately, it seems that we are destined to return to Yuanzong. The Taoist shook his head and said to himself. As he said that, he turned around and said to the others, let's go, we must hurry back to the sect before tomorrow. Yes. Several disciples also put away their laughing expressions, and were carried by the Taoist magic weapon, soaring into the sky. At the same time, somewhere deep in the mountains 100 miles away, boom. A towering tree was broken in the middle. I made a mistake teleporting into a tree. Luo Tian rubbed his forehead. When he teleported just now, he didn't pay attention, and directly broke an ancient tree. Well, it seems that teleportation is risky, you have to be more cautious. The most important thing is... He picked up the map and looked around. I seem to be lost. Where is Gue Yuanzong? It should be in that direction. As Luo Tian said, his figure flickered, and he teleported away again. However, the direction he teleported to was completely different from the direction the middle-aged Taoist and the others went. A few hours later, a monster lair, boom. The lair collapsed in an instant, and dozens of monsters in the spiritual realm shivered and huddled together, looking in horror at the humans who suddenly appeared and smashed their house. Fuck, is it wrong again? Gue Yuanzong, where is it? Luo Tian roared angrily. Chapter 19. Do you believe me when I say this is a traffic accident? You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the middle of the night, on the outskirts of the Guiyuan mountain range, in a forest, a group of people were resting. Boom. A man who looked to be in his early 20s slammed his palm on the piled logs and lit the bonfire. Hey, Elder He, what do you think of my fiery palm move? The man asked with a smile. The hunched old He smiled slightly, and said, 21 years old, at the second level of Qi Gathering Realm, and you can strike such a powerful fire palm with one palm. Du Xiaoyuan, you are also a heroic boy. Being praised by He Lao, Du Xiaoyuan immediately became proud. On the other side, He Lao turned his head and looked beside him, a beautiful girl with a sad face. Your Excellency, don't worry, Gue Yuanzong will close the mountain at night, and we can go up the mountain after dawn tomorrow. He Lao said to her. The girl smiled bitterly and said, Old He, you said Gue Yuanzong, would you help us? He Lao pondered and said, Gue Yuanzong has always been closely related to your family, and with the promise of their previous suzerain, I think it will. The girl sighed and said, although that's the case, after all, the old suzerain has passed away, so let's go to the tea. He Lao didn't say any more, because he also felt that what the girl said made sense. This matter is too difficult at this time. Wow! Beside the girl, a pure white little fox suddenly turned over and roared at a dense forest. Ha! Little May, you are. The girl was stunned. Elder He's expression turned serious, and he shouted loudly, be alert. Call. In an instant, dozens of attendants around the campfire took up their weapons and surrounded the girl in the middle. Old He. The girl was stunned. He Lao explained in a low voice, my lord, little Wuyue is a star-eyed white fox, one of the monsters with the strongest detection ability. To make it so vigilant, it is obvious that there are powerful enemies nearby. After finishing speaking, he shouted loudly towards the dense forest, Your Excellency, there is no need to hide, please come out and meet each other. Everyone's eyes were all looking in that direction. Unexpectedly, an evil beast has noticed my whereabouts. It seems that my cultivation level is not good enough. While speaking, a tall, red-haired man walked out slowly. Who is Your Excellency? Old He looked at him and asked in a deep voice. The red-haired man didn't answer, his gaze flicked over everyone, and finally landed on the girl. Oh, a light flashed in the man's eyes. The best. The best. Unexpectedly, in the small night breeze country, there would be such an outstanding person. It seems that when I play with you, you should be careful, otherwise if you die, you will be killed. What a pity. As he spoke, he couldn't help laughing wildly. When the girl heard the sound, a burst of embarrassment appeared on her face, but she didn't dare to speak. You wanna die? Beside, Du Xiaoyuan heard this, his eyes flickered with anger, and he was ready to make a move. Wait. Elder He pulled Du Xiaoyuan back. Old He, why are you stopping me? This cheap-talking fellow made me tear him up. Du Xiaoyuan said angrily, but He Lao shook his head and said, you are not his opponent, this guy's realm is above mine. What? Du Xiaoyuan froze. He knew that Elder He was a strong man at the 9th level of the sky control realm. If it is said to be above him, then wouldn't this red-haired guy at least have the profound understanding realm? With a cultivation level at the Tongxian realm, even in the Night Breeze Nation they could be called ancestors. Could it be that the guy in front of him is actually one of them? Fellow Taoist, we are members of Gue Yuanzong, please don't make things difficult for us for our sake of Gue Yuanzong, He Lao said. He kept his posture very low, for fear of angering the other party. At the same time, Gue Yuanzong's name was also raised. Gue Yuan sect is a first-class sect in the Night Breeze Nation, and there are 3 masters of the Tongxian realm in the sect. Generally, in Night Breeze's country, everyone wants to save face. However, after the red-haired man heard the words Gue Yuanzong, the smile on his face froze instantly. Instead, there is endless indifference. You are Gue Yuanzong's disciples. That's great. Originally, because Gue Yuanzong closed the mountain at night, I couldn't enter the mountain gate, so I was a little bored. But now it's all right, let me slowly torture you to death, kill you after finishing you. It's time for Gue Yuanzong to open the mountain gate. Call. He said, taking a step forward. In an instant, a bitter murderous aura surged in his body, almost congealing into substance. Everyone here, including He Lao, couldn't help taking a step back. The sense of oppression given by the other party is really too strong. With He Lao's insight, Rao couldn't help feeling a sense of despair in his heart. The red-haired man in front of him is too strong. But right now, it should be here. The front is. Oops, get out of the way. At the other end of the dense forest, a figure flashed over. Okay. The red-haired man turned his head to look, but the next moment, the figure teleported directly to the overlapping position with him. Before the red-haired man could say a word, he was hit by a huge impact force. Click, click. He did not know how many bones were broken, and his whole body was distorted. Boom. In just a split second, the figure settled down, and half of the red-haired man's body was smashed into pieces. Blood, minced meat and bones were scattered all over the ground. Puff, the red-haired man fell to the ground, motionless. The sudden change stunned everyone present. What's the situation? A second ago, he was so powerful that he wanted to kill everyone, was hit to death in the next second. And this death is too tragic, right? At the same time, everyone's eyes fell on the person who teleported over. He is naturally Luo Tian. At this moment Luo Tian was also a little confused. He lost his way for most of the day, feeling a little irritable, so when I just used the heavenly Dao body technique to hurry, I was a little distracted. When he found someone in front of him, it was too late to change his figure. Looking at the ground, only half of the corpse remained. Luo Tian probed his breath with his hand. This, killed someone? Brother, I didn't intend to kill you. Would you believe me when I said it was just a traffic accident? Luo Tian said to himself. After coming to this world, he also killed people. That's because Mingxin should be killed, but this time is different. He didn't know the person in front of him at all, so he killed the person opposite him. As an educated young man of the new age, it was a little difficult for him to accept. Is he your companion? Did you see it? I just accidentally ran him over and killed him. I didn't kill him on purpose. Luo Tian raised his head, looked at He Lao and the others and asked. This. Everyone was speechless again. What happened to this young man in front of him? After all, He Lao is an old Jianghu. He was the first one to come back to his senses, and hurriedly said, that. Fellow Daoist, don't feel guilty. This guy is not our companion. On the contrary, he just wanted to kill us. Before I could make a move, I was hit and killed by you. When he said this, elder, he felt baffled. This red-haired man is a master of the Tongxian realm. He said that he was hit to death. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't believe anyone who told him otherwise. Chapter 20. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After hearing the other party's explanation, Luo Tian still shook his head and said, he wants to kill you. That's a matter between you. What does it have to do with me? As he spoke, he squatted on the ground again, looking at the red-haired man with an apologetic expression on his face. Brother, you have seen it too. I am indeed to blame for this, but I didn't do it on purpose. How about this? I'll put your corpse away first, and when I have a chance, I'll find you a good cemetery, and then I'll find an eminent monk. Give you a break, let you find a good family in the next life. As he spoke, he began to bow his hands and mutter words. Looking at this scene, Du Xiaoyuan looked suspicious. Old he, you must have read it wrong before, right? Is that red-haired one really at the profound realm? He turned his head, looked at Elder He and asked. Elder He hesitated for a moment, then shook his head and said, impossible, the aura on his body will never be wrong. Du Xiaoyuan pointed at the guy's body and said, but, have you ever heard of someone who is strong at the Tongxian realm who can be killed by someone at once? He Lao was also at a loss for words now. That's right. A strong person in the Tongxian realm is definitely a super strong person in Yefeng's country, although over the years, occasionally there will be strong people in this realm fall. However, it has never been heard of falling in this way. Maybe, this fellow Daoist is stronger, right? Elder He looked at Luo Tian and said, but this answer, he himself can't believe it. After all, even if the strength is strong, you can't say that you can kill a strong person at the Tongxian realm and still be unscathed, right? Du Xiaoyuan frowned and said, he is strong. I don't think so. You see that the red-haired guy just came out, and Xiao Wuyue yelled twice. But when this guy came out, did you hear little Wuyue yell? He Lao was taken aback for a moment, thinking that this was also the case. The star-eyed white fox is most sensitive to the aura of the strong. After Luo Tian appeared, he did not hear Xiao Wuyue's cry. Little Mei. Almost at the same time, several people turned their heads to look at Xiao Wuyue. However, At this moment, Xuanhuan was twitching on the spot with her feet on her back, foaming from her mouth, passed out. Little May. The girl rushed over first, hugged the little fox and shook her. Ugh. Little Wuyue slowly opened her eyes, seeming to be a little confused. Little Wuyue, look at that guy, do you think he is strong? Du Xiaoyuan came over and asked. Now he still doesn't want to believe that Luo Tian, a young man who looks younger than him, has such great strength. Xuanhuan followed his fingers and looked over, and saw Luo Tian at a glance. Ow! He kicked his legs, foamed at the mouth, and passed out again. Little May. Wake up. The girl was about to cry, boom. He Lao slapped Du Xiaoyuan on the back of the head. Look at your bad idea. Old he snorted. Du Xiaoyuan also stuck out his tongue. Little Wuyue is the most sensitive to the aura of the strong, and she fainted from fright, that is to say, this guy is really super powerful. But how old is he? Du Xiaoyuan felt a little unacceptable. Du Xiaoyuan is quite powerful among his peers, even if someone is stronger than him, there is hope of catching up, but the Luo Tian in front of him was so powerful that he couldn't even read it. This is overkill. Perhaps, he just has good looks, and his actual age may be older than me. He Lao analyzed from the side. Oh, it must be so. Du Xiaoyuan finally breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, it would be understandable if it was overtaken by an old monster. That, senior. You don't need to be like this person is definitely a treacherous and evil person, and if you kill him, you are only doing justice for the heavens. He Lao stepped forward and said to Luo Tian. Luo Tian turned his head, glanced at him and said, You know him? He Lao shook his head and said, I don't know. Luo Tian said, Then how do you know that he must be a big treacherous and evil? He Lao said, I. He Lao was speechless. Luo Tian sighed, and said, Forget it, the matter has already happened, let's talk about it later. Let me ask you, how far is it from Guiyuanzong? He Lao immediately said, This is the Guiyuanzong mountain range, but Guiyuanzong closed the mountain at night, and the mountain gate is hidden in the formation. When tomorrow dawns, the mountain gate will appear. After hearing this, Luo Tian let out a long sigh of relief. Okay, this time it's the right way. In the daytime, he has walked countless wrong paths, and he has been procrastinating until now. Even with heaven's Tao and body skills, the fatigue in the process is unbearable. Why, is Senior also going to return to Yuanzong? On the other side, the girl asked while shaking little Wuyue when she heard Luo Tian's words. Luo Tian followed the prestige and saw the girl, he couldn't help but be taken aback. Good guy, if Lan Xiu'er is 98 points, this girl must have, points. Amazing. Senior. The girl asked again. Luo Tian came back to his senses, coughed lightly, and said, Yes, do you belong to Yuanzong? The girl shook her head and said, No, but my family has some friendship with Gue Yuanzong, this time I came to Gue Yuanzong to handle business. Since the senior is on the same journey with us, why not rest here with us, and wait until tomorrow to go to Gue Yuanzong? My lord, is this bad? Du Xiaoyuan frowned, trying to dissuade him, but the girl shook her head and said, What's wrong? Without the help of seniors, we might all be dead. Besides, with seniors around, we would be safer, wouldn't we? Elder he also nodded at the side and said, Your Excellency is right, but I don't know if senior dislikes it or not. Several people looked at Luo Tian together. Luo Tian originally didn't want to interact with these people, but just wanted to refuse, but, his stomach growled. Immediately afterwards, a burst of meaty aroma came. Looking around, Luo Tian saw several pheasants and hares roasting on the campfire next to the girl. After going down the mountain from Daimingzong, Luo Tian rushed on the road in a rage, and didn't eat for a whole day. Now that I see these foods, I can't walk anymore. Since you sincerely invited me to dinner, I'll stay. Luo Tian stared at the barbecue and said, wiping his saliva. Ah. Oh, the meat has just been roasted, senior, please enjoy it. The girl also reacted and offered her hand. Luo Tian was not polite, and sat down to eat. This eating scene surprised everyone. Old he, do you think he is really a senior? This doesn't look like much. He asked in a low voice. He Lao glared at him, and said, what do you know? Since you are a senior, your words and deeds make sense. You look at him as if he is eating, but in fact, this may be a kind of cultivation, that while speaking, Luo Tian burped for a long time. Du Xiaoyuan turned his head to look at He Lao, and said, so, is this considered cultivation? That He Lao looked embarrassed and said, maybe.